Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to another episode of Diversity and Equity in Education. I am April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar,
Hi, I'm the Diva D from Carved Out Divas,
and we're being hosted by.
the fantastic and phenomenal Bianca Goolsby of Teaching for the Culture.
Hey, girl. Hey, guys. Hey, we're here.
Hey,
How y'all
everybody.
doing?
So, how was your week, April? How things going?
Um, this week has been an adventure. Anytime there are hypotheticals or confirmed cases of COVID on your campus, it just becomes a hodgepodge of underlying discussions when the transparency veil that's put out there that is really happening, it just really creates like I said, chaos on the campus. So we've had some COVID exposure on our campus and unfortunately in our cafeteria staff. So it has been an adventure. It has been an adventure.
Yes. So we don't know because we're not really told what happens, but we just get information, little bit tidbits of information,
Yeah, and
and
it creates crazy on
right,
campus.
and you just basically was it pray and spray, just pray and spray whatever Lysol you got all around, and just hope that you
Yes.
don't nobody will catch nothing. So that's pretty much how it's been. We will let parents know that this is last week before winter break. The break in between the actual quarter is not over yet. The quarter does not end until January. So you're taking a break right now. So this week is the last week. So school will be closed down on December 18th is the last day. Then we'll have 2 full weeks off, and then students will return on January 4th. During that space of time, we got something from the superintendent.
Wait,
Yes.
kids returning on a Monday this year because they
Yeah,
normally.
that's according to the shiny, my bad, newfangled 2021 calendar.
Okay.
I pulled the information, and now I don't know if they reprinted or changed anything since then, but according to this calendar, it says
Yeah, because normally we return on a Tuesday, but
on a Tuesday.
yeah,
That's what
so
I'm
that would
thinking.
be new.
Right. So it says, yep, January 4th, which is the 79th day of school. Students
Okay.
are due to return. So during the break, of course, there is also, and I think we have have a link for it. We have parents are encouraged to reserve there's going to be a grab and go meals that's happening over the break, and there's a survey monkey, like a parent link that went out that for parents will need to fill out so you can try and get your bag early, and each of the meals is going to include 2 weeks, they believe, worth of food. So every day is like 2 days. There's gonna be a breakfast and lunch. So there's one big location you can pick it up at Silo Bend, but there's also locations all throughout Hillsborough County. So you can just double check with your school. But we're gonna post that information in the session today. Okay.
And for a point of clarity,
Mhm.
Denise, if you mute while I'm talking, we might have to do that. Yeah. So for a point of clarity, the meals are available for any child that's registered in Hillsborough County Public Schools, because when you do the sign up for the meal opportunity, you have to use your student's student number, date of birth, and so on and so forth. So there has to be it is a sign up process. You cannot, from what I'm reading in the documentation, you cannot just show up. So you have to sign up if you're going to be picking up at the Silo Bend location. So again, do your due diligence, research, follow the link, and make sure you read to make sure that you don't show up unannounced at specific sites without have followed through the proper protocol and efforts to make sure that there are meals planned for you at those various sites that are require registration. So again, do your due diligence, parents, so it doesn't create unnecessary anger behind something that's just a miscommunication. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
Mm-hmm. So reading, just be very, very cognizant of things that do come in your email, and just read it carefully so that you know what to do. You want to fill out those forms early, get those out of the way. So parents, just like I say, we even though we see now as what has been taking place over the weekend, that the COVID vaccine, the first rollout of the vaccine is headed up. But just understand that the vaccine is not for us, the general public, right now. the first time the general public is actually going to have access to it is probably going to be sometime around spring, headed into summer, because they have to vaccinate all the healthcare workers first. So this is not something that everybody's going to just, okay, and COVID is magically over. Also, too, you need to pay attention. Just because the vaccine is available doesn't mean that the precautionary methods that we're still have in place are going to change or go away. You still got to wear a mask. It's not going to go away overnight. It's something that might take 2 years to truly get under control. So just keep that in mind, because we have some big name heavy hitter people who have just passed just this past weekend. Now, for of course those who are older would know of Charlie Pride, who was he's a black country musician, and so that was a big one. There was a woman who you started was it Queen Sugar, and her name was Carol Sutton. She passed away. Most people know that Debo. If you don't remember, Debo from Friday, his name was Tiny Lister. He also passed away. And then Ronaldo Ray, which I just recently found out, he just passed as well. So, you know, and we have people around us too. So this is affecting everybody. So it's really important that you pay attention, you know, follow the precautions, which includes washing your hands, which includes, you know, covering your face with a face mask, you know, keeping the social distancing, all those things, because it really isn't under control yet. Even though the news is telling us that we have the first rollout of the vaccine, just be aware that it's not going to hit your community anytime soon. So just, yeah, I mean, it's still there. It's still around. Okay. All right. Comment, April, what you got to say on that? Good. All right. Just want to let you know. All right. So then, go ahead.
I have nothing to add. Just laughing at you.
I've been talking all day. I mean, on the phone with so many people. All right. So listen, let me tell you something. Y'all president got people out there in DC getting stabbed over election results. Listen, people. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, you can't. Once again, we try to explain to children, you can't be sore losers. This is taking place. There is a system that's in place. Has been there in this country for so long. Let's not continue with this violence and this habit that we're having right now of not believing, because that creates more tension and more drama, more issues for people. So the more that you have one person who's perpetuating all this insanity, the worse it's going to be to get the calmness under control. And remember, we still right now in COVID. So just calm down. That's all I can say. Calm down. Just, that's y'all people in DC. But who's still getting stabbed in America today? I mean, y'all stabbing people for real over election results.
It's just insane. It really is. It's scary. It's really scary. Because at this point, when Clinton didn't win, we just said she didn't win. Moved on. So this has just been adventurous. I understand if they need to go the extra mile, go ahead, but it's just costing taxpayers a lot of money. A lot of money.
And then what also was about it is that it's showing people that you don't have to be mature about losing. You can just throw a tantrum and you know, people be on your side. But the one thing I'm glad about that it did is it exposed a lot of senators who all were like trying to, you know, depose what's going on. And the list that came out, I think it was over 100 senators. I hope people remember that when it comes time to vote again, because remember their cycle comes up very soon too. And if people pay attention to the fact that these are people who are trying to destroy your democracy, your democratic right. What? And if you don't understand, like you tell people over and over again, if you don't understand that this is about invalidating the black vote, most people don't get that. Because the only reason why this is happening is because that many black people actually went and voted and changed an entire state to a democratic state. So therefore, now why should we now be happy about this? We gotta invalidate these black votes. That's what we all talk about right now. And it's so important that people realize that it's a great thing that the courts overturn all those lawsuits. It's amazing. Because if they did not do that, they would not have upheld what the democratic country is based upon, the process that we have. It's horrible knowing that you want to overturn something that has been set for so long. So I got to give them a shout out for that, because they did not. It could have gone a totally different way, but now people are still in their feelings, which is the horrible thing about it. And then now, speaking of which, I guess they just completely showing out, because they over here executing people left and right. So the young man who people have been pleading for to save his life was just recently executed, and it says another planned execution trying to happen on Martin Luther King Day. Now, it's just the evil that they're trying to do right before they leave the office. But that I can't, because it's just too depressing. So now, parents, here's a question that we received throughout the week. I don't know about you on your side, April. I'm quite sure somebody may have asked you this question, but this is what they were asking me. Parents wanted to know the difference between the semester exam and the assessment. Like, how do you effectively explain that to parents so they can understand how it affects the grading, how it affects especially for the high school students, things like that. So what's the difference? You tell me.
You asked what's the difference between a semester exam and the exam? I don't understand.
Parents were asking me, were saying, well, if my child does not get a semester exam, why are they still making them take like an FSA or taking the Achieve 3000 assessment?
Oh, okay. So from what I gather, we do know that the semester exam is a culmination of trying to identify what the students have learned from the point that we started in the new school year up until the end of the semester, which normally is anyway, I won't get into that, but because our dates have shifted so much because when we started and so on and so forth. But ideally, that information is basically gathered, to identify, student growth, academically, are they growing? But there also are questions on there that's considered fair game on all assessments, state and district, that include information that they've learned from grade levels prior to. So yes, but as it relates to them not taking a semester exam, and I've also heard a conversation that some high school teachers have been asked to administer some type of exam so that they can capture data for, but it's just for participation points or something like that. But I do know that what I need clarity from people in the district, are they still required to take the EOCs? That's the difference. Our high school teachers, or let me correct that, our high school students still required to take the algebra EOC, the civics EOC, whatever the high school credit courses, are they still required to take those tests? I've not had anyone answer that question for me to get clarity, so I'm not sure. So that is something that I don't know the answer to, but I do know that middle school examinations, the kids don't have to take them. However, there are middle school teachers that teach high school credit classes. So therefore, they might be subjected to a different set of guidelines and criteria. I'm not sure, because what we received from from my math coach, it was just basically students aren't required to take the end of the mid-year exam. But we have some other things in place that we're going to utilize in efforts to offset us having not taking that exam. We're going to be going back to our what do they call it? Baseline assessment, administering that again, so that we can have some capture to compare it to based upon what the students have done. So I'm not sure about that. So let me look on here to see if we got some input from any high school people. I don't have my phone open, but let me check.
Now, in terms of the baseline, I think one of the things I want to think is that for the district to understand that I don't feel that there's going to be humongous leaps and bounds in terms of growth. Now, you will have some growth based on some of the students who are actually there, but what they also need to take into consideration is the fact that I don't think anyone, at least in my site, we do not have full classes. We don't have a class where every single child has shown up to class every single day. There's some students that are on my roster that have never come to class since August. They may have come in one day just to say that, hey, I'm here, and they thought that that would suffice for the 9 or 10 weeks. But so if you're expecting to test those children, which I believe if they're not coming to class, they're not going to show up for testing either. So if you're looking at how it affects the teachers, like overall, scores, well, you've got a bunch of kids that don't show up. Do you count them? Do you not count them? I mean, why are they still on the roster? So just understand, I already know personally, I don't feel like I'm gonna have a whole lot of growth based on if you took the whole class into consideration. If you took just the numbers of the ones who just showed up, there may be some growth there. But if you're trying to add everybody else in, no.
I know Alicia shared that for her daughter, it was stated that yes, they are still required to take the EOCs. So I have a problem with that. I just think that for our students that are in high school, I think the stress level and the amount of responsibility and all of this, leading toward their graduation, I think that's a lot of pressure on those children at this moment. Because again, I think we forget, as the adults or the individuals, let me correct it, the decision makers, forget that we're still experiencing COVID. Life is still happening, for everyone that are making the decisions, but keeping in mind that life is also still happening for our children, that, this is something they've never seen before, experienced before. And again, where is the trauma related support in all of our schools, efforts to say, how are these kids doing, mentally, before we could continue to just kind of prepare for them for all this testing. Because again, I just don't think it's a good space for any of them to be taking tests right now. But hey, who am I? Just a measly old teacher.
I absolutely agree. This weekend, I spent some time talking to some girls, and one of the things that they were explaining to me was that they don't think that, and it's so incredible to hear the child explain it from their perspective. And what they were saying was, well, I don't think the teachers talk to each other. And that because I know I have so much work in biology, and I have so much work in algebra, and I have so much work in the Spanish class, and then I gotta, and it's like they're not understanding that you can't give me 10 assignments in this class, 10 assignments in this class, 10 assignments, and I have 8 classes, and I got ROTC, and I got after school program, and I got, so then they become stressed out because this child is literally like, look, I am crying every day because I don't think I can accomplish all this. And when it's sad when you hear kids who say, I was never an F student. I've always been an A, B student, but online work has made me an F student. That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking to hear a child say, because there is like, and the realization is when she said, the teachers are not talking to each other, because how is it that I can have 10 assignments from one teacher and 4 assignments from another one? This one over here only give me 1 because they don't want to grade a whole lot of work. Then this one over here give me 6 and 7, and they all do the same day. So we do have to take the children's mental health into consideration, because they're overwhelmed, and then add in the fact that some of the kids have IEPs. Some of the kids have 504s. Some of the kids truly need one-on-one instruction. Online is not the platform for that. Listen, if you're all going to scrape by with a D, let's be happy. Let's just be happy and let them all scrape. Listen, they came to class. That's what they did. They tried their very best, and they came to class. Some showed more effort than others because they're a little bit more adept, but also take into consideration, this is for every teacher, especially teachers that are not aware of how a lot of our Black and brown students think or what they need. Every child does not have the devices they need. Every child also doesn't have the skill on the keyboard. I think we were talking about this before, where I was saying, I asked a question, and one thing about online teaching, it has taught me to slow down. It has taught me that I personally have to slow down. I can't go fast. So I'm literally counting in my mind 35 to 40 seconds before one person respond. Why? Because they don't type fast. They don't know how to type. They know how to play, like, how do they hold a controller like this? That's what they do. Okay, so they know how to do this, but they don't know how to turn their hands from this position to this position and type. So now they're hand pecking. What do you call it? Pecking? Hunt and peck. That's what we call it, hunt and peck? Hunt and peck. So I have to force myself to stop for 30 to 45 seconds. Because I'm like, well, ain't nobody talking, nobody doing anything. I have to wait. Because they themselves are taking a minute to type a response. That's something that has completely changed how I teach. I want to go back to the classroom. Because you think you want to go back to the classroom? No, I want to go back to the classroom.
It definitely is a challenge because, you know, and I'm always switching from one modality to the other because I'm brick and mortar and e-learning. So you are absolutely right. So a lot of my students on e-learning, I periodically have students that are suggested to come to my class because their behavior is not considered appropriate at that time frame. So they sit to my class, and I've been teaching e-learning. And then it always amazes me how they stop and watch me teach the e-learning. And then they always have a question. Ms. Carl, we didn't do that in our class. We had extra. I'm like, because it's different. You have your peers that are at home trying to navigate this in most cases by themselves. So see how I'm able to stand over you and make suggestions and corrections and, so on and so forth. They don't have that. And then he sat there and was like, oh, you're right. So even the kids, he viewed it as if they had less work than we do. But in all actuality, it's really not less because they have to do more with trying to, number one, comprehend what this loud Black woman that speaks Southern is trying to get me to understand over this poor Wi-Fi system that I am mandated to use because this is all I have. And I might be catching every other word that she's saying. Why is she talking Geechee? All along that. And I got to also comprehend it during that same time. So I do feel that a lot of teachers that teach e-learning really don't understand that. And I don't know how they don't understand it, because they probably should have felt at some point during this process like they were drowning as well. Because I drowned a few times and had to put myself on the bank and, do my own chest compressions, to spit out the water. I had to do all of that because it became a point like, oh my God, when you get off the Zoom, you be like, okay, I got to do it again. So it is a challenge. And I will speak to this. I am not a magnet teacher. I don't know how cumbersome some of the programs may be, how rigorous they may be. I'm not speaking to your profession of what it is trying to tell you to do. But I will say that it is heartbreaking for every single magnet child that I know that speak to the fact that the work expectation is overwhelming to where they're not going to bed nightly between 10 and 12 a.m. nightly because they're trying to get all the work done. And I would just want to ask, please explain to me, where's the research to support that amount of homework as it relates to the students being capable of, understanding the content if they had just something a little bit less, in quantity, not quality, but quantity. But quantity does not dictate the level of, quality of any content. So I think, like, again, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I can speak to the schools that I am familiar with. Williams Middle Magnet. Oh my God. The amount of work coming out of there. Oh my God. Sumner. Oh my God. And that's not even a magnet school. It's just a school, it's one of the new, anyway, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Slide. I heard some information coming from out of Slide too with the magnets. So just something to think about. And as parents, be your child's voice. Don't let them just layer that work on like that and your child is, you know, again, reaching a place of depression because they feel that they're not meeting their expectations. So definitely something to think about. But again, I ain't questioning what you do. I'm just like saying, think about the kid. That's all. Think about them, because a lot of them are doing the work, but they are crying behind the scenes trying to figure out the how. That's a fact.
Okay. And then one thing, exactly what you hit the nail on the head when you said it's not about the quantity of work, it's about the quality of the work. I can take one piece of text that's 9 paragraphs, and I can use that one piece of text all week from Monday to Friday. We literally will chunk it, break it down. We focus on main idea. We can be focusing on the author's purpose. We'll focus on perspective. We'll look at all depending if it's an informational piece of text, we can really dive into it. One piece of text and pull a bunch of standards out of it. And at the end of the week, that's when you get your questions, because we've spent all week long digesting that one piece of text. And if people would think, I can take one document and I could cover so many standards from that one piece of paper, I'm okay. You don't have to give them, okay, well, here's this story today, here's this article tomorrow, and here's this one. And listen, are they getting what they need out of it? This person, like I ran a report this weekend. This percentage of my kids have issues with main idea. This percentage has issues with cause and effect. This percentage, guess what? I found one piece of text that have all that in it. Now, all week long, the group that need cause and effect, that's all you're going to do all week long off this paper. That's all you're going to do over here is motivation. All you're going to do over here is, is sequence of events. Come on. And by the end of the week, they may have a mini assessment so I can know whether or not they got it. That's it. But just like that, what that baby said, are we talking to each other? Are we sharing? Are we communicating that, I think this teacher gave this one child 20-something assignments. And please remember, the parent, don't ever underestimate the parents. They're parents that may not be that vocal all the time, but they jump in your inbox in a hot second. Jump in your inbox. They on your text. They in your phone. Because they just want to know, listen, this baby's in 6th grade. He's never experienced this in his life. And now he got 30-something assignments due tomorrow. Cut him some slack. This is new for everybody. The only people it's not new for is people who've been teaching online, Hillsborough Virtual School, whatever. That's the only people who not. But the rest of us, we struggling. And then I really feel bad for the ones who are teaching at the same time. They teach online and in-person classes at the same time. How? Them people need a special place in heaven too. They need a special place. Because what? How you doing that? How? Now, let me tell you where we're going to move from. We're going to move from that to, I don't know how it is at your school, but we're going to focus on behaviors. Let me tell you, this week, I just happened to spend a couple of days on campus. Now, normally I'm not on campus that often.
It's fine.
Oh, it's fine. Oh, thank you. At your school too? Because this week was like, I'm going to knock them out like fight night. Like fight night. Listen, do you not know we in COVID? This is a season of COVID. I don't know what to tell y'all, but why we still laying hands on people in COVID, season of COVID, whole entire. I sat in my room and witnessed a whole thing like, what? That's what's happening? And I want to say God bless to the teachers who was trying to break it up and separate. Listen, God bless you. Did y'all take 3 showers when that was done? 4 showers and hose down and Lysol and Clorox wipe yourself?
And in my opinion, that is where e-learning is no longer an option for your child, because we need them to understand the level of importance that this virus has demanded in our current city, especially in schools. So that might be a point of, you say we're quarantining when necessary. Well, that's a necessity when the child cannot exhibit the appropriate behaviors, to where now teachers has to do one or two things. Number one, break up the fight, and then next, break up the fight safely. Now, go figure. COVID still exists.
So what are we going to do? At that point in time, to me, I think your child should just be might well to enjoy that long vacation home. If your child don't understand that we have been in and then some people fight with a mask on, some people fight with a mask off, right? Mask off. Like the mask off. So you fighting, and to me, there shouldn't no longer be an option for you to come on campus. That option should be gone. Because part of the rules is that we separate ourselves and spread ourselves out and be socially distant. But let me tell you why. And I want to give a shout out back to Bianca, because Bianca has been really focusing on this phone. All of our fights, not one, not two, but all of our fights have taken place because of social media. Ain't nothing happening in school. You ain't fighting over no grade. You ain't fighting over no the teacher said something to you. You fighting because you having full bullying, threatening sessions on social media. That's what it is. And you brought that drama into the school. And parents, if you can't unlock your own child's phone, because when parents are
correction. If you can't unlock the phone that you allow your child to use, because it's your phone. I think we get that misconstrued a lot. If you cannot unlock the phone that you allow your child to use, because it's your phone, your contract, your bill. I just wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You absolutely correct. You absolutely, because guess what? Last time I checked, that 13-year-old that had a phone that wasn't paying for that, didn't pay that bill. You didn't pay that bill. So when parents are in shock when they say, not my child, but your child has done threatened everybody but Jesus through their phone. Your child has thrown out their death threats and everything. Your child talk about who they gonna do, what they gonna beat up, who they gonna bring by your house, dragged up, everything. And you don't know. You don't know. So how if that child spends a lot of time by themselves and they always got their phone in their hand and don't talk to nobody, but they in the phone like this, you need to double check, triple check, and quadruple check. Because human beings by nature are sociable creatures. Take the phone away, we still gonna find some way to communicate. We're gonna talk to each other, we're gonna go hang, whatever like that. But if you got a child that just like will die, will go to bed with the phone, can't wake up the phone in the hand, they can't even be separated from their phone. There's some stuff in there.
I have a question. Why are children going to bed with damn phones? It's 10 o'clock. It's time to go to bed. Plug that phone up. First of all, my grandmother used to do this. When it was time to go to bed, unplug the house phone and put that phone up there on the counter. Because ain't no more phone calls tonight. Now they just running rampant. Yes. What happened to go put your phone on the charger in my room? So all hell not breaking loose all through the night, 2 and 3 in the morning, to where they still fired up to wake up to go to school and keep it going. Parents, you're part of the problem with these phones. You.
Because let me tell you. What were you gonna say?
What to do with my money? We're not. We're telling you how to better make the quality of the child that you're producing better by taking away all this social media crap.
Because parents understand, if your child, I just want you to just, and I'm not being, facetious or mean or anything like that. This is what I'm trying to say. Have a conversation with your child. Ask them to show you a piece of their writing. Just ask them to write just anything, just something decent. If your child, if you can't understand what your child is writing, you listen to them and they can't explain to you something clearly, and they have a phone, but they can tell you all the drama. And if ask them what did they learn today in school, and they have a phone, and they can tell you everything that's happening inside that phone. Something wrong. I have some students, and people keep acting like they can't believe me. I have some students that can going on 15 cannot write a decent sentence. Simple words spelled poorly.
I have a question. How did they even manage to arrive to you at 50? And let me pause myself. Let me mute myself.
They arrived to me like that because they were administratively placed in my class. They didn't get promoted academically. It was administratively placed.
Which again does not help the academic gap at all. It weakens the child's ability to be capable of being successful. It does. If there's no impact program that's put in place in front of that child at some point to be able to capture some of those skill sets that they did not master, we are part of the problem then. We as educators, we as administrators, we as leaders, we're part of the problem. Just gonna put that out there. And nope, Cobb didn't say them, they. I don't do that. We.
And the issue is too, we have ideas, we have solutions, but the problem is people get mad when you provide those solutions. Like I'm gonna tell you, I grew up in a place where one of the solutions was you got no summer. You did not do you until you got back on grade level. So you had 12 months school. Look, let your child experience that one time. I bet you they get back on grade level. There is no sports for you. There is no active after school activities for you. There is nothing for you until you get back on grade level.
Because think about it, cell phone scenario. Just let's just go with me here. So we purchase a cell phone for a certain amount of money down, normally in between $100 to $200, right? And then you accrue a fee monthly, no more than like about anywhere between $40 to $80 a month, right? So therefore, just imagine if you utilize that money for tutorial services, for additional resources to help your child with online platforms that they have, just for the sake of, one, Khan Academy is good. It don't have all the bells and whistles, but it's good. But there are also paid versions of academic platforms that you can utilize for your child that provides reports and everything that you could use. So just imagine if we, revert that money into, utilizing it for the academic success of our children. Keyword, our children, all of our children. Because in the end, when I get ready to get, when I do arrive at a point that's called old, because I'm not there yet. When I do arrive there, I got to go into, visit these hospitals, doctors, because, that's just the way it works. I'm not saying I'm going to be broke down and ill, but we got to visit them. And those same children that I'm referring to as ours, they got to be in those capacities to be able to do one or two things: perform their job well, and I live, or perform their job poorly, and they possibly could kill me there. So it's up to us. We have to remember and shift our mindsets to the children, no, our children. What are we going to do? What must the community do? Like, speak that type of language so that we can make sure that all children are receiving that equity and education. And we ain't going to talk about school to prison pipeline, but we are, but we're not right now. Go ahead.
We're gonna eventually get to that. And listen, the same amount of money you would have spent on a phone, you could buy those laptops and those tablets and all the things that they need for school. Because again, like going back to the whole thing with COVID, you're not getting the shot now. That shot for all the healthcare workers, 100 million shots for them healthcare workers that's out there. You need the frontline workers cured first. So by the time it gets to us, it might be summer going next school year. So we might be home for quite some time. And if y'all don't put on your mask and social distance, we're going to be home for quite some time. Purchase what you need to purchase to help your children. Help them. Help them. Please help them. We can keep on saying, please help them. And then listen, if your children are not able or capable to keep their hands off of other people's children, just stay home with them. Tell them stay home. Tell them learn to practice those soft skills. Maybe they can get on a, whatever. But like with the phone, understand something like this. I know we talk because we're a little older, okay? But when we got in problems back in the day, we got in a fight, it was over. There was no recording of it. There was no posting of it. Nothing. Only people who remember we got in a fight is probably 10 people standing around and me and the person who got in the fight. Okay? That's it. But for these kids now, it's played over and over and over again, and it's destroying them mentally. They get hurt, they angry, the frustration is in there, and that's what they got to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. But that's the problem. Take the phone away. Let that mind settle. Now, yeah, it's out there in cyberspace, but guess what? To keep them from losing their mind, take the phone away. It needs to be plugged in a central location anyway. How a child got a phone in their bedroom when that phone, just like April said, that phone belonged to you. That phone should be, by 9:30, that phone should be plugged up in the kitchen or wherever it is, everybody can get to it. At school, you can always tell the kids who parents have access to their phone. You know why? All they do is play games. The gamers are the ones that you could tell their parents clearly have access to their phone, because they don't get on nothing else but a game. Sometimes they don't even text people. Okay, I'll talk to you later, because they know their parents gonna read everything that they have. And meanwhile, look at the other kids who always on their phone all day, and they recording teachers, they're recording each other, they posting meme videos, they're making memes of people. Their parents don't even look at their phone. They're just like, oh yeah, they got a phone.
I challenge any parent or anybody that's watching this video, go say, hand me your phone. If they got to do some and swiping and all that, you have lost control. You have no control at all. I just want you to know that. If they got to do some, they can't literally just hand you the phone right away without saying who, what, when, and why. You have lost control. Yeah. You have. You just paying the bill.
Right. And I remember one time, and I'll never forget it. I told that child, she was on the phone. She kept having the phone under the desk. I said, nobody looks down their lap all the time while I'm in class. I mean, ain't nothing on your lap down there. Let me get the phone. That child literally took the battery out that phone before they handed it to me. You can only imagine what was in that phone. You took the battery out. You said, ain't no way in the world you seeing what's in my phone. If a child got to take a battery out of the phone before they hand out, that was back in the day, because nowadays the phone, you can't even take the phone apart now. It's just gonna die. But she took a battery out. Remember back in the day we had a flip phone? I think it was like 2005 or 2006. You had a flip phone. You could take the battery out. That child took the battery out. I was like, really?
And the thing is, when you're in the hallway making the phone calls and they're standing there, and I'm like, call your mama. I don't know the number. Who? What? You have access to the world, and the world has access to you, and you don't know. What are we doing as a people? What are we doing?
Well, your mama have 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, and her phone number changed as much as yours does. So you really don't know. In 3 weeks, I called 3 different numbers. This was, Mom, pick a number, please. Pick a number and stick with it, because it's very important for the emergency card. You doing all this talking, but nobody can't hear you. You on mute.
As I was saying, or create a Google number so that you will always have an up-to-date contact number for your whatever new cell phone number you get. You can always attach your Google number to it. I've never had a problem with mine. I've been had it for a while now. So any new cell phone number that I may choose to get, because it's your choice. We're not saying that. What we're saying is it's hard to keep up with having accurate information to reach you if there was a point of emergency when it's necessary to be able to contact you. So Google numbers can be utilized by parents, guardians, adults as well. And it's a great resource to have, so that in the event you choose to get a new number every other day, hey, that's your prerogative. We do have an accurate, up-to-date number to reach you at, because it just attaches to your new number. That's all we saying. That's all. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, we have to reach, we have to be able to contact you. I mean, they remember this is, especially now, this is a time when you want to be as safe as possible. If a child really is sick, you need to have an accurate number to contact that. But also, oh, I'm so glad we said that, because let's talk about the emergency card real quick. Parents. I know everybody relationship might not be stable. I understand all that, but we just can't randomly come to the school and start changing addresses and things like that. We're just not going to do that. Okay. And we need permissions. You just can't go crazy, get mad and say, here's a new address. We need validity. We need the conversation with both parents. We just not going to have one angry parent come there, talk about change the address. Schools don't work like that. Okay. I just need you to understand that it does not work like that. You can't change addresses randomly, things like that. And because we have to be very careful about who's picking up the children, especially the children are either car riders or walkers, things like that. So just know that, that's not how emergency cars work. You just can't just ask for one and just expect to change addresses because you just angry. So just a little PSA.
And I do recall that there was some incident that happened, it's been a couple of years now, where emergency cars were updated to include some young lady's boyfriend's information on there that was it was crazy. Let me just add this. And then the young girls became missing for a few days, and it was insane. It was emergency cards have their pros and cons. Number one, they're sent out at the beginning of the year. Parents know that they're being sent out. They're to be updated and immediately sent back. But when children understand that's how I can get in and out of school and place individuals' names on there where they can have access to me getting in and out of school, you got to be careful with that, because normally when the child said, my mama need a new emergency card or she want to update something, it might be something a little fishy with that, because normally we would hope to see parents come to the school and make the necessary adjustments, because emergency cards can be a little tricky when it comes to things like that. Like a child just say they're coming to get in and bringing it home, and then magically there's new information put there. There's no one there to validate who done the card. So something to think about, parents. It's all about the safety of the children.
So don't be upset when people are asking for things to verify the address. So for example, you come in there and you're like, I need to see the water bill, I need to see the electric bill, and they say you have a new lease. Okay, you brought the lease. Okay, yes, but I mean, if you're just saying I need to change the address, I mean, come on, we're dealing with children's lives here, and we don't want to be. You think about it. Okay, think about it like this: when you go to Enterprise, don't they ask you for all that before you rent a car? They want your water bill. If you don't have a valid credit card, they want your water bill, electric bill, and some proof of residency, because they got to know you're going to return this their car. Okay. We want the same thing at school. Hey, this child got to go home and come back. And we need to know that this is the actual legal place where this child's going to live, and that there's some adult there that's going to take care of that child, or as there's an adult that we can reach out to in case of an emergency. So it's the same thing. I mean, we just can't get mad because we're just mad today and we want to change it. So just a little PSA, just throw that out there for you.
All right, so we didn't look at our individuals that are here. Gretchen is on fire. She is commenting and tagging and responding. Thank you, Gretchen, as usual. We think that you support us in this our crazy Sundays. That's what they are. I can't see who else is on, so let me put that down. If they don't comment, I can't see it. Remember, my Facebook has been doing something interesting for a while. But Denise, you're talking? Because if so, you're muted, honey. You read messages. So as we do prepare for our 5-day countdown to our holiday or winter break, parents, it's important that we remind our children that this is not fun week. Even though we may not be taking our assessments exiting like we had become traditionally accustomed to doing, we need kids to understand it's still a responsibility to go to do their work while they're at school this week. I know they're in elementary setting, they do a lot of holiday functions and so on and so forth. In middle school, you don't see them as much. You might have some teachers that have had the pleasure of attaching what they're working on in class to be able to have holiday socials in their classroom settings. And, like for me, we're just going to attack social emotional learning for the last 3 days of this week for us. Like for me, we're going to do our review for the unit tomorrow, test out on it on Tuesday. We know some parents take get a quick start on, taking kids out the remainder of the week in fear of possibility of fights and so on and so forth. It's normal. It's no indifferent than when we were in school. We get that. But now we have a different component of it, COVID. So we're going to be talking about, what are you going to do over winter break? How are you going to feel about that? Are you planning on doing XYZ? And then I'm going to plug in all those safety, precautionary things that they need to keep in mind while they're interacting with family, because you all would be amazed. These kids are paying attention, and a lot of them, learn from, they're influenced by things that are happening in school by teachers that they know that sometimes parents do at home. You be like, nah, my mama do XYZ. I know she was supposed to do this. I'll be like, okay, don't share anything like that out loud again, because your peers are vicious and they'll use it against you later. But I understand what you wanted to express. But again, it's important that remember, colleagues, that we are preparing our children to leave school for a 2-week period. Some of them have not already had great experiences, when being off for that long amount of time. We don't know what type of trauma was shaped in those spaces while they were off. So we don't know if mentally they are traumatized, even getting ready to be off for 2 weeks. Now, Denise and I both have experience to know for a fact that a lot of our children don't like to be off for that long period of time. Like you will see them start to like their behaviors this week will be so indifferent than formal weeks, because they are not so much as fearful. They just don't want to be off that amount of time. And that's because they know what types of struggles are, associated with being off that amount of time. Yes, the school system is saying, come get the food, so on and so forth. We get that. But keep in mind, guys, that's not enough. It's not enough. It is what it is. Breakfast and lunch is not enough. What happens for dinner? It's not enough. Are we making excuses for anyone that's, whatever their situation may be? Never. You'll never see me do that. I don't get into that. But what I do know is all the opportunities that, like Denise normally does her backpack for meals for her kids that go home over the 2-week period. I do some gift cards from some kids over period. Things that we don't get too much into. But this year we couldn't do it. We just couldn't. And we know that there are food banks happening. But remember, for food banks, it requires a card to go. Some things we don't think about. So again, if you have it and a neighbor or two that got some children, go get a little gift card for them. If you have a problem with worrying about what they're going to do with the cash, which you should, because what God lays on your heart to do for somebody, what they choose to do with it is not your issue. Or buy a couple of other little pieces and, drop it off. Kids live off oodles to the noodles, hot dogs, a chip or two, some Arizona teas. Just buy a couple of extra things. It ain't no discussion. Give it to them and move on. No expectation about it. You don't need to post no pictures online. You don't need to do none of that. Just do it. And I promise you, they will be forever grateful, and they're thankful, even if they don't say it. Just know that that's our responsibility as humans. That's our responsibility.
Absolutely right, because and I do feel it in my heart and soul, because I know, I miss the fact that they can't have the food bags, and just even the community service hours, because that's what they used to get in order to, while they were packing up the things. I'm like, okay, every time you come in to do your little job for packing, you get your community service hours, and so all that is missing. So it just, just like what April was saying, there's children out there in need, because we do 65 to 100 food bags, and they all be gone. There's not one of them that's left over. There's not. And oodles and noodles, yes, noodles for they love it. The cup of noodles, ramen noodles, and you know you can get a pack of the what is it, the bulk case thing for like $5. They love that stuff, and that stuff will last them. I mean, they dress up them noodles, okay? So just those are the things that you need to just say, hey, just pass them out. Just put them out there and pass them out. I wish there was a way I could like set up a little card table outside and just throw up a whole bunch of noodles that y'all just come get this. Just come get it. They just take it. What $5 gonna hurt you really? You spend $5 on a bunch of junk anyway, okay? So just keep thinking about the kids. They're out there and they know that they need something, all right? So that's really what we just want to share with y'all. Put it on your heart and say, God, put it on your heart. All right. And then listen, for those of you that are also self-conscious, I got this out of my Sunday school class. For those of you who are self-conscious about giving people money, why don't you just go ahead and buy like $20 worth of McDonald's gift cards? Keep it in your car. Every time they walk up to your window and say, can I get some? Hand them the gift card. They got $5 whole. You would have normally given them $1 anyway, right? Now you're giving them more than what they expected anyway. Buy $20, $25 worth of $5 McDonald's gift card. Go to McDonald's, get yourself something to eat. All they're gonna do
my twins love doing that because we do keep them in the car. Like they enjoy it. Even like the $5 gift cards for Publix. Like you have to go to the counter and get those. You can't get the ones off the shelf. Even the little smoothie coupons that Wendy's offer. Like again, if you have a problem with the money part, it is so easy, and the kids enjoy handing it to them. Like that be that made their whole day. And it also teaches, our children in passing. We know some of our panhandlers, they dead wrong. We know that. But there are some that are truly in need. And many of us, we don't want to say it or accept it. We're a paycheck away from them same people's situation. And I'm going to leave that there.
That's all true, because like I say, they're saying about it, there go you and I, but for the grace of God, because the grace of God's grace is the only reason why we still sitting here doing fairly well as we could be. Because I'll tell you, anything, a split decision by either by you or yourself or somebody else could have you underneath that street. We could have you underneath the interstate begging for change too. A split decision. Anything could go wrong. Okay, so we just want you to just leave you with that thought. Just just be mindful of others. Even though it's the Christmas, as I say, Christmas season, it's still every day is a day that you can be given and sharing with somebody else. Every day is a day for learning and growth. Okay. Anything else you got, April?
That's it. We want to make sure that you all are instrumental in reminding your child the importance of going to school and doing the best that they can every day. Inquire about what they're learning. Take an interest in what they're learning. And don't be so judgmental in all of, their flaws, because one thing about it, they showing up, y'all. For those that showing up, they made it. They showed up. So if nothing else, give them an A for effort. And that's all we got tonight. My name is April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar.
I'm the Diva D from Carved Out Divas, and have a lovely evening, everyone.
Okay. And we're Diversity and Equity and Education, hosted by Teach for the Culture. Have a good week, guys. Bye.
Bye.